Yo, cuz, I, I know why you got the call last night. Shouldn't have been there in the first place. You don't want that shit to come back to haunt you. Ain't been up this early in a long time. Turned on the TV this morning. Had this shit on about living in a violent world. Showed all these foreign places. Foreigners living on. Started thinking, man. Either they don't know, don't show, or don't care about what's going on in the hood.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Film Bros Podcast. My name is Isaiah Lucas, and I'm joined by my co-hosts.
Abraham.
And Nick.
How you guys doing tonight?
I'm all right.
Doing good.
Doing good as
Can't
well.
complain.
Yeah, me either. It's kind of weird coming back to this movie. I haven't been
It's been a while.
Yeah, I haven't returned to it in a long time.
It's been a while for quite a few things. I feel like I was gone for like ages.
Yeah.
Like I haven't seen you guys in so long.
True.
So what's up?
Yeah, it's good to see you.
So
It's good to
what's
have you here again.
Yeah.
I'm still dying, but I'm alive.
Yeah, us too.
Yeah.
We're
I wonder how
we're
many
all
peop-
dying.
Yeah. Oh, seriously. I wonder how many people are being like, I love Tick Tick Boom. Andrew
Yeah.
Garfield was great.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Say,
Actually,
too bad. No,
it's technology's fault.
It's technology's fault.
Yeah, my
Blame it
notes
on
didn't update. So
Yeah, we just had like a whole 10-minute trouble trying to fix that right
yeah,
now.
troubleshoot thing. I
Yeah.
had to restart my phone and then get added back under the note and everything and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so.
blame it on Tim Apple.
Yeah. So we if you stayed tuned to the end of last episode, we had falsely reported that we were going to be doing Tick Tick Boom. But that was not the case. We're actually going to be talking about Abe's new pick.
Yeah, and I chose the 1991 film Boyz in the Hood. It was written and directed by John Singleton. And it's basically you're following the life of these three guys living in Compton, Los Angeles County.
Yeah, South Central.
South Central. And you basically see their way of growing up and how it is to live in Compton during those times.
Yeah.
And that's like,
Political landscape was
yeah, it was pretty like,
horrible. Still is somewhat, but like,
yeah, that's like kind of like Rodney King area, or yeah, I think so.
No, Rodney King happened after.
After?
Mm-hmm.
So it was
Rodney King
before.
happened in 92, I think.
So yeah, so I mean, but it's still pretty like, it was still heavy, of like police
Mhm.
brutality and stuff like that on colored people. So it was just, yeah, it's basically around that time. So it's just showing these three, characters that we follow, in their day-to-day life in Compton.
Mm-hmm.
3. But there are several other characters.
Yeah, there's several other, but it's three main ones, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I akin this movie very strongly to Stand By Me, and kind of just the aspects of the film where it's like, you know, you watch these kids kind of grow up. This was like a coming of age movie, really,
Mm-hmm.
when you look at it in a certain lens, and it's just a coming of age movie that's set in 90s South Central LA that is, you know, overrun with gang violence and crime, and it just kind of shows you what it was like to live in South Central LA and what it's like to grow up in the hood, and it's nothing to glamorize.
No.
And
Yeah.
it's a good watch. I appreciated it. I remember watching this movie for the first time when I was in high school, just because I had heard so much about it, because this is a very culturally relevant movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't tell you how many people I see walking around with Boyz in the Hood shirts, or shirts with like Ice Cube on it, where he's dressed up like Doughboy, and then it has Ice Cube written on the bottom of it or something. Like, this movie started Ice Cube's acting career.
Yeah, this is
And then
his
like
debut.
he would go on from here to write Friday, and then star in Friday, and now he's in movies like 21 Jump Street and Are We Done Yet? Or Are We There Yet? You guys remember
Bruh.
this?
Are We Done Yet? Is the one that.
Yeah. And I actually wanted to bring up too, we had talked about the writer and director of this. This is his debut film.
Yeah.
He wrote this and directed it when he was 23.
That just
It's
blows my
insane.
mind.
That's my age.
Yeah.
Me, right now.
Yeah. Made this movie when he was 23.
I cannot watch.
Which
I
is
cannot.
pretty cool. He would later go on to do movies like Poetic Justice, Baby Boy, High Learning, Shaft.
Shaft is his most recent? That's
No.
with not Denzel Washington. That's with what's that fool's name?
Bro,
Samuel L. Jackson, isn't it?
He directed.
Yeah, this one came out in 2000 though.
He directed Four Brothers.
Yeah, he also did Four Brothers, is what I was going to say. We've done an episode.
We crapped on that movie.
Yeah. We've done an episode on that movie, Four Brothers, which was what
Also,
I was
rest
going
in
to bring up.
peace, John Singleton. He passed away.
He passed
Oh,
away
did
in
he?
2019, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Rest in peace. I did not know that either.
Yes. But this is his directorial debut, which I thought was really cool. And I was actually reading a lot about why he wanted to make this movie, because he based the writing for this entire movie a lot off of his own life. Because he lived similar to the way Trey lived. He, grew up a lot with his mom, and then moved with his dad to Central LA, South Central LA, and for a long time experienced everything that Trey kind of went through, and ended up taking his dad's advice and going to college and all this stuff, and then ended up going to film school and getting really inspired to write a movie about his experiences within South Central LA and base this movie kind of around his life.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I have zero history with this movie. None at all. I literally only know it from you guys. And you don't really talk about that often. So it's like,
Yeah,
he picked it, and I was like, okay, let's watch.
Yeah.
And then I've known Ice Cube. I mean, I didn't know if he wanted to be like a serious actor or if he wanted to like lean more into the comedy. And I couldn't really gauge his performance here. It was more serious. But then there was times where I was like, some of the dialogue, I was like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, he plays, I don't know, I kind of enjoy Ice Cube's performance here because I just feel like that's actually how he is.
Yeah.
So I feel like he just wasn't even playing a role. Like, he was just like,
Just hanging out.
I don't even want to be here. Like, and like, was really just being himself on screen and not really actually playing a character. But yeah, I can't say I have like a huge personal history with the movie, but I remember watching it for the first time and just checking it out because it's that culturally relevant and people talk about it all the time. And I remember the first time I watched it, it was like an edited version on TV. So like it cut out some scenes and all this stuff.
All the blood, I bet.
Yeah, and I remember watching it and being like, oh, that was pretty good, that was cool. And then I actually watched like the full version later in college and then picked up a steelbook copy at Best Buy one year. And it came with like a digital download stuff, all that crap. And I give all my like digital logins to like my dad and my mom. And one day he was flicking through one of my accounts, I think it's my Movies Anywhere account, and he was like, I've never seen Boyz in the Hood. Is it good? Should I watch it? And I was like, if you've never seen it, check it out. And I remember he called me afterwards and was like, that was really good. I actually really liked it. It reminded me a lot of Stand By Me. And I was like, yeah, exactly. Stand By Me is another one of the films that my dad showed me when I was a kid that I loved. And it's another coming of age story where these kids, go on a journey, and while they're doing so, they're, tackling real life issues at a very young stage. And, except, in Stand By Me, we only get to really see them as kids. With this movie, we watch them grow up from being kids up until teenagers, being in high school, and the type of stuff that they get to see on a daily basis whenever they're growing up in this environment and where that kind of leads them down the road later in life.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a good one. I would recommend checking it out. It's streaming currently on like Stars, I think.
Yeah, Stars. For some reason, I thought it was on Showtime.
Okay.
It was on Netflix for a while, and that's why I chose it. But I think they just took it off, like when they do take them off at the end of the month.
Yeah.
I think they just did it.
Oh.
So I was like, dang.
Netflix is fumbling all kinds of ways.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's in shambles right now.
Yeah.
Anyways,
But streaming currently on Stars, so if you have that subscription, go check it out. If not, pick up a copy, rent it somewhere. It is rated R, so keep that in mind if that's something that you're cautious about. But other than that, you want to go ahead and start us off with your first favorite scene?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you do it because we talked about it. I only have 2 favorite scenes, and my first favorite scene is jumbled up of different scenes, if that makes sense.
Okay. So I like the intro. I like seeing Trey as a young boy kind of already being exposed to this violent culture that he already grew up in like 84, I think, is whenever it starts, right? It starts in 1984. And just from the beginning of the movie, it really does remind me a lot of Stand By Me with these kids who got like sailor mouths running around, talking, cussing like crazy. And I know, like, I don't know, it's weird to think about this, but like, I know whenever I was a kid in like 3rd and 4th grade, I was like cussing up storms and stuff too. But just because I thought it sounded cool, like I thought it made me sound cooler. But probably looking back, I probably was like cussing and making no sense at all.
no,
Yeah.
it's like every other word's a cuss word, and you're just saying it just to say it.
Yeah. And so I don't know, I liked seeing these kids like be portrayed that way, and it felt real to me because I was like, I've been there. And I thought it was really interesting seeing that these kids like are already trying to act bigger than they are and walking to school, and then also being exposed to death like so early on. It's pretty freaking crazy. And they're walking to school, this kid comes up and says like, hey, you want to see something? Which reminds me of you, dude. You just he's always like, you want to see something? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yeah, are you down?
Yeah.
You down?
I do things like that.
Yeah. And so he is like,
Man,
you guys
don't
want to
call me
see
out.
you guys want to see something? Yes or no? And they're like, you can't say what it is or ask, just say yes or no. And
Damn.
that is literally him.
That is me.
But
I'd be like, bro, you want to see something? Just say yes. Yes or no question.
Yes or no? You down? Yes or no?
yeah.
Dang.
And so that kid finally gets them to say yes. He takes them over to like a crime scene, and there's just
A dead body.
blood everywhere. There's blood everywhere and like brain matter and stuff and everything.
Oh yeah.
And I don't even know how.
Of a later one.
Yeah, I don't even know how this kid knows this, but he was like, "Oh, why is it all yellow?" And he's like, "That's the plasma separating from the blood."
I think that's a little. I mean, I don't know. That might be just saying like this happens so often that the kids, that's just common knowledge because they see it all the time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
Like it's supposed to maybe reflect a little bit of the landscape at the time where it's like, yeah, they
They're
see
used
it
to
all
it.
the time.
Yeah, so they
someone had to have said it, so they're
Yeah.
that's just common to them now. 'Cause-
become kind of desensitized to
yeah.
it. Yeah, but I like going from there into the actual classroom where Trey is acting a fool in class.
Yeah.
And
I did. Yeah.
Also, the most horrible teacher in the world, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's because she's got a prejudice against people of color or it's just like she just sucks.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you'd be like, all right, you get up in front of the class and you teach him.
Yeah.
I'm like,
No, but I've had some teachers do that to me though.
dude, it is not a good way to teach.
No.
And she didn't like, did barely anything to break the fight up, bro.
No.
Like, they were getting closer
She's all,
and closer.
guys, stop.
Come on, stop it now. Like,
Yeah, it was.
ineffective.
Yeah.
Stupid.
But I think it's funny whenever he goes up to teach the class and is like, my daddy told me that, basically everyone comes from Africa. That's where they found the first person like ever to live. So we've like all have come from Africa.
Mhm.
And
Whether
then,
you like it or not.
Yeah, whether you like it or not. We've all come from here, and then we spread out into other parts of the world, right? And this kid that went and showed him this crime scene afterwards is like, I don't come from Africa. I'm from Crenshaw. I'm Crenshaw Mafia, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, whether or not you like it, you are from Africa. And he was like, no, I'm not. And they start cussing each other out and all this stuff.
The teacher's like,
Yeah, and then they end up getting in a fight, which I think is funny too. Watching kids fight is funny to me,
Yeah.
even though it shouldn't be.
well,
But-
because they're so little and it's like, you
Yeah.
can't really be doing much damage.
Yeah, but watching them fight is funny, and then, they end up breaking it up, and then it's a bro moment too. Whenever you see that the teacher is calling home to talk to Trey's mom,
This,
Yeah.
and she's like making all these random stereotypes about her, where she's like, you are employed, correct, ma'am? He does have a father, right? Like, and all this stuff. And she claps back with like, oh yeah, do you think we just make babies ourselves? Like, you just think automatically he doesn't have a father and that I don't have a job?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's kind of a bro moment that is unfortunately a stereotype amongst people of color. And I liked that she was able to clap back immediately and be like, I'm actually getting my master's degree. And he does have a dad. I know who it is. They have a good relationship with one another. Yeah. And guess what? He's not going to come to your school anymore.
He's going to his dad's.
Yeah. I'm moving this kid. He's going to live with his dad.
Yeah, it was a bro moment seeing the handwritten note that he wrote.
Yeah.
If I get in trouble one more time, I'm going to my dad's.
Yeah.
And
that works. It works.
It does.
No,
because he's held responsible for his own actions. He's the one who signed it, made it, and now he's got to deal with it.
Yep.
And I think it's a really good teaching moment.
Yeah, especially for a kid his age. Yeah. It's teaching him that you have to deal with consequences. And then I also like whenever he goes to his dad's and, he sees Doughboy and all his friends that, he sees, every month or so whenever he goes and sees his dad. And he sees Doughboy and all them, and they're like, oh, you're going to be here all the time now? You're not just going to be here for the summer? Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, I'm moving in, basically. And first off, Doughboy as a kid is hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Doughboy as a kid is so funny.
His clapbacks are funny.
Yeah,
dude.
he's a funny little kid, and I loved seeing him be portrayed that way. Mm-hmm. But I also, to hit on like the kind of like, powerful teaching moments and stuff and everything too, is whenever Furious, Trey's father, tells him like, hey, rake up all these leaves and all this stuff and put them in these bags and everything, and then whenever you're done, come inside. And he's like, man, my mom would make me do this. And he's like, well, doesn't matter. If you're going to live here, I pay the bills, and you got to do something. Mm-hmm. So you're going to rake these leaves up and do what I tell you. So he rakes them all up and then comes in and kind of is looking around the house, and like he's all grossed out by like the bathtub and all this stuff and everything. And his dad is like, okay, we got rules in the house. Repeat them to me. What are the rules? And he's basically like, I got to clean the tub. I got to clean the bathroom. I got to do all this stuff. And he's like, why don't you do anything?
He's like, what do you do?
Yeah. And he's like, my only job is to pay the bills, put food on the table, and put clothes on your back. And he's also, if you want me to stop doing one of those, you tell me and you can pick one up.
Yeah, he said, I'm lucky I don't got to pay the bills.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm glad I don't have to pay bills. And he's like, exactly. So when I'm doing this stuff, you got to help me out. Right. And you're going to be responsible and do all these other things to help me out around the house. Mm-hmm. And I kind of enjoyed that moment where they have this mutual understanding with one another, where he's like, if you're going to be with me now, we're going to lay some ground rules, and I'm going to teach you how to be a man.
Yeah, very effective father. Usually, he'd be stereotyped of him being like hard and just like not really a good dad. But he was great.
Yeah. I also lumped in this whole intro scene with like the intro / seeing the body. Like it's like a good 15-20 minutes of the movie. But
before the 7-year time jump.
Yeah. And first off, that guy breaking into the house, that whole scene is pretty intense.
Yeah.
Like I was like clenching my fists a little bit whenever they're, sleeping, windows are open, they're just
noises.
Yeah, and you just hear like people creeping around in your house. You see like sneakers sneaking around looking for stuff to steal. And I started getting real clinched up whenever Trey gets up to go to the bathroom, and that guy is just wandering around in their house, and then Furious comes out with the freaking hand cannon and just starts blasting at the guy. And that's a pretty insane moment as well. And then the cops come. They have this whole interaction with this other cop who is also a person of color that treats them like trash just because he's in a role of power. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know how to explain it.
No, that's true. He has an authoritative.
He has like
a hatred for his own kind.
Yeah, he has like a hatred for his own people.
And
thinks that he is better than them because he's in a position of power or something like that. And it's gross to see, and
it's kind of sad.
It is sad, and I think that I really like the way that Furious handles the situation whenever everything is going on, and Furious kind of goes up to him and is like, "Nah, Trey, go in the house. Like, I don't want you out here in the cold. go in the house. You don't need to talk to my kid. And he's like, what's wrong? Did I say something?
Mhm.
And he's like, yeah.
You got a problem?
He said, you got a problem? And he said, I do have a problem. And he's like, it sucks to see that you're not the one that doesn't see it. And then he goes, brother. And then walks away. And it's kind of, you know, him signifying like, I'm upset with you. I'm disappointed that like you would treat your own kind this way. We're supposed to be looking out for one another, you know, trying to help each other. And you're over here pressing me. Like,
it pissed me off when he shows up and he goes, we got a call about a robbery. And then that's when Fierce goes, yeah, about an hour ago.
Mhm.
yeah.
And then he gets mad because he's like, I mean, I'd be pissed too, though.
Yeah. But then I extend this whole scene into whenever they're hanging out the next morning and they're walking around throwing the ball and they're on the railroad tracks, which is another callback to freaking Stand By Me.
He's like, it's not very far. And then it cuts to them on freaking the railroad tracks looking like they're a million miles away from me.
Yeah. And so they're walking around and they come up on these older guys who we can only assume are in a gang or something like that because they're standing on a corner harassing people as they walk by, stealing from kids. And they're walking by, and previously Doughboy told Ricky, his like stepbrother, I'm assuming, or half brother, to not take the ball. He's like, I don't think you should do it. It's like it's gonna only cause us problems.
Mhm.
And he's like, man, I'm gonna take it. It doesn't matter. This is what I want to do in life. I want to be a football player. And so they take it and they're walking around, throwing it around. And Chris, who is another kid on the block, takes these kids to see a dead body. And so they walk
Chris
around.
is wild, bro.
Yeah, I gotta say his Jerry curl wig is awful.
Is it
Like
really?
it looks bad on the kid, the little curl wig. That he has.
I know what you're talking
It
about.
looks horrible.
What if it was actually his hair, though?
It does not. It looks fake. It looks good on like Ice Cube. Like I know it's real whenever Ice Cube grows up and
he has
and
it.
Doughboy actually wears the Jerry curl, but it looks fake on Chris.
Yeah, it looks
Bro.
pretty bad.
But yeah, they end up taking everybody to go see this dead body, and yeah, there's just a body just laying out just in this field that no one is touching or have done anything with.
Mhm.
And they go over there and they're looking at it and they're like, it stinks. It's nasty. Why is he just laying here? And these guys come up and they start pressing Trey and Doughboy and Chris and Ricky.
He's like, oh, let me get your ball. I got plenty of money to buy more balls. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna take it.
Yeah.
And he passes it to him and he goes, all right, thanks.
Yeah, and they just take it and start playing with
Honestly,
it.
I feel like I would do that just to mess with some kids, too, though.
Yeah, but not like actually take it.
No,
You know,
I
just
wouldn't take
joke
it.
like, all right, thanks. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But they straight up take it and they're like, all right, yo, let's play. Let's get a game going. And they start tossing the ball around and it upsets Ricky. You can see how upset Ricky really gets with the situation. And he's like, Mom, man, my dad gave me that ball. I'm never going to get that back. Mom's going to be pissed at me. And Doughboy's like, I told you not to bring that ball. Let me go get this thing back. And he goes up to these guys who are way
Give my
old.
ball back.
Yeah, and he starts
Trying to press
Yeah,
them.
starting to press them. And is like, I said give me my brother's ball back. And then they start beating him up.
Bro, it's a big moment. It's not a big moment, but it made me laugh when he's, like, holding him and he's, like, trying to swing.
Yeah.
You know that, like, the old-fashioned hold him away.
Yeah.
It was super funny to see that.
Yeah, but then Doughboy gets pissed and kicks him. And then that guy, like, backhands him.
And
then kicks him while he's on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I was going to give it back to you, too. No, I'm not. And they keep throwing the ball around and everything. And then that one guy who was nice enough to be like, bro, give him the ball back. Like,
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about.
Quit being a jerk. Like, let him have the ball. And he's like, man, come on. And they finally give him the ball back. I thought that was a nice moment where,
He said, catch.
yeah, he goes, hey, little man, catch. They throw it to him. And I thought that was a nice moment where, you know, they're not, you know, these horrible people that they've been made out to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're still human. And meanwhile, you know, people might, you know, make wrong decisions and choose to, you know, mess with kids and stuff like that and everything. There are still people out there who are like, hey, that's not cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have nothing to do with this situation. Just give him his ball back. You know, they're kids. And it was a nice little tender moment, I thought.
Yeah.
And then I also extend that scene to whenever Trey and Furious go fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And
I do like this scene.
And yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up because this is another like really good teaching moment when he's trying to tell him what are the roles to being a leader. Like, what should you do to be an effective leader? Yeah. And I love that Trey's he already knows. He's like, all right, rule number 1, you always look someone in the eye when you're talking to him. Yeah. Number 2, I don't have them all.
Number 2 was
I wouldn't be an effective leader.
Don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, he said don't
nothing's worth stealing for.
And then 3 is like don't respect anybody that
doesn't
respect you.
Right. And he goes, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Very wholesome.
Yeah, and
Put some respect on my name.
Yeah, and I just love them having these real conversations with one another, and these are conversations that you should be having at this age to really get a feel for what it's like to be a leader, and if you're going to be a leader or a follower or anything like that. And
so this is actually like part of my favorite scene is I put every scene with Furious and Trey talking. Yeah. Even when they're older. Okay. Their conversations when they're older are still amazing. Mm-hmm. And like you hit the nail on the head. You said these are conversations that you should be having. Mm-hmm. And like when I watched this movie, I was young, so I was like, man, I wish my dad would tell me this. Like, no shit on my dad. I love my dad, but he never did that to me. Like, and seeing like something real like that, I'd be like, yeah. And I liked it.
Yeah,
that's how it should.
That's real.
Yeah. That's how it should have been.
It should have been. Yeah.
I mean, I even thought it was funny too because I've been in the situation where my dad brings up the birds and the bees talk.
Oh gosh. What do
you know? He's like, what do you know about this? And he's all, I know a little bit. And he's all, what do you know? And he tells him, and he's like,
he gives one of my really favorite good wisdom.
Yeah, and this is one of my favorite quotes throughout the whole movie, where he says, Furious says, any fool with a thing can, make a baby, but only a real man can raise their children. Yeah. And, he just drops knowledge on Trey at such a young age. And I think that's something that contributes to him not leading the life that like Doughboy and Chris do later on in life. And it's just a great moment where they can, have that father-son bond and really get to know one another better.
You know who Furious kind of reminds me of? Uncle Wayne.
Uncle Wayne.
Uncle Wayne.
Oh my God.
When you see these dogs in your front yard,
just know
I'm putting in work, and that ain't no cap.
That's Uncle Wayne right there. That's where Uncle Wayne's getting his knowledge from.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I just enjoy that whole sequence of events. I kind of lumped them into just one big scene because I don't know about you guys, but that whenever they're kids, it felt like it was just a big culmination of like the intro to me. It didn't feel like it was like, oh, these are separate scenes or like there's nothing that denotes that this is something different. It felt like it was all just one thing.
No, and it's because the pacing pretty much resets at the 7 years later.
Yeah. Yeah, and after that is my second favorite scene after that is whenever they're older and Furious takes Trey and Ricky to talk about gentrification, which is one of the scenes that I really like.
It's a big bro moment. It's because obviously that's not a conversation you just be like, hey, let's talk about something, and but like, and that scene, Furious made it like, hey, like let's talk about this. Like, even though you're not ready for it, like we're gonna talk about it, and then you're gonna realize, like, I'm speaking truth. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought it up because I like the scene because I feel like if a lot of more people had conversations like this, we could solve a lot of our world problems that we have.
Yeah, and it's just another one of those scenes too where I just enjoy that Furious is dropping knowledge on everybody.
What do they call him? They say he's when he was dropping knowledge, they call him something.
Oh, I forget. I'm
what
not
does
entirely
sure. Call him?
Oh, he calls him like Malcolm Farrakhan or something.
Yeah, Malcolm Farrakhan.
But the scene that I'm talking about specifically is before they do this whole talk, Ricky and Trey drive up to Furious's financial offices where he's like basically like a mortgage lender, I'm assuming, or
I don't know,
something like that. He works in finance and helps people buy homes and stuff like that. Was what we're told. And they're like, "Why do you do that? Do you just help people buy homes?" And he was like,
"Well, yeah, keep the money here."
That's exactly what I do. If we want our community to thrive, we got to keep our money here. And he's like, "You guys want to go see something? Let me show you something." And then Trey is like, "Do we have a choice?" And then Furious is all, "No, you're gonna come with me. We're gonna go here." And
whether you like it or not, bro.
Yeah. And so he takes him to Compton, I think, because it's an area that they're not familiar with.
Yeah, Compton.
And he goes on this block and he's like, "I want you guys to get out of the car and go look at this billboard with me. What do you see?" And it's this billboard that's advertising cash for homes. And it's, cash for people who want to sell their homes so that way they can have some cash on them and do whatever they want with it. And effectively what it is, the billboard, he's like, what is this? And they're like, I don't know, a billboard? And he's like, come on, don't play dumb with me. Like, what's the messaging behind this? And Furious basically starts to say that, like, this is all about gentrification. And gentrification is whenever you drive people out of a community that they were originally set in. And so being that Compton is predominantly a black neighborhood or a person of color neighborhood, whenever you put people in a position to where they can make money and you make them sell you your house, you are effectively driving them out of the community so that way you can, like, whitewash it, essentially, and put people out of homes and out of their community and effectively leaving them nowhere else to go or pricing them out of the community. Because if, someone, let's say, you live in a bad area of town, but you pay $400 a month in rent, and someone comes over and says, I'll give you $100,000 for your house. You take it, but now the only other place that you can live charges you $2,000 a month in rent. How are you ever going to make that work? You only got $100,000. You got to make it last however long you can, but at some point that money's going to run out, and it's all going to be because you're paying this higher price in rent, higher price in groceries, all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. And Furious starts saying, like, we need to, like, actively rebel against this type of stuff. We need to come together as a community and stop killing one another. Mm-hmm. We need to, only support black businesses, and we need to invest in our community and make sure that we are keeping each other safe and everything like that. We can't do that whenever we're running around shooting at each other.
Yeah, it's so cool too because they have like those other like little kids that come up, and then there's like this older gentleman that comes up, and the older guy is like, well, it's their problem. They're the ones that are doing all the killing and all the stuff, and even his character Furious is like, where do you think the drugs are coming from? Yeah. We don't own boats or planes. How are they shipping it and floating it in here?
Yeah, he said it like, he's like, it wasn't a problem until it got to like Iowa or the White House and all that other stuff. And he's like, we never did any of that stuff. It got thrown at us, and now we're paying the consequences for what's going on. We got to get out of that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just love this whole scene where, Trey and Ricky get to sit in on this whole conversation, and even Ricky afterwards is like, man, like, I wish my brother was here to hear that, man. Like, he really needs that. And he's like, is your dad a preacher? Was he ever a preacher? He talks great, man.
He should have been.
Yeah.
He's read a lot of books.
Yeah, and it's just one of the scenes I really like too. I wish Doughboy had been a part of that conversation.
Yeah, well, even in literally the next scene after this, when they're all they go down to
Crenshaw
Boulevard or Crenshaw Avenue. Is it Boulevard? Avenue?
I think it's Boulevard.
I think it's Crenshaw Boulevard. And they're all just posted up there. Like, back then, during that time, that was the thing to do. Chill on Friday night, go down Crenshaw Boulevard.
Yeah, it's the same thing whenever everyone in Fresno goes and sits in the Target parking lot.
Yeah, on the Saturday nights.
Yeah.
Right there on
Shaw.
It's on Shaw and Bullard.
Yeah.
Yep. That's if you ever want to go there.
Or is it on Shaw? I think it's
on Blackstone.
It's on Blackstone.
Blackstone and Bullard, where the Krispy Kreme is. If you ever want to go there, almost every Friday or Saturday night, you're gonna see a bunch of. I almost said a bad word. A bunch of cars that don't go fast. So.
Yeah, you got to see a ton of people there with their cars all modded out, sitting outside of them. Yeah. Just hanging out.
You might see some actually good cars.
Yeah.
But most of them are just gonna have a little cold air intake and just not gonna do anything.
Car guy talking. Mm-hmm. But this is my next favorite scene, actually. The whole car show on Crenshaw.
Yeah, because and I wanted to say was, Ricky even tells Doughboy, like, dude, we had a good conversation. You should have been there.
Yeah.
And that's when he says he calls him Malcolm
Farrakhan. Yeah. And first off, I just gotta say, Doughboy's Impala.
Bro, I want that Impala.
Dude,
when he
with the
pops
gold
it up,
trimming around it, I was like, ooh,
it's fire.
We gotta take it to a show, bro.
I would love to go.
Dude, it was fire. And
the hydraulics on that when he gets about to when he leaves, when he
leaves, and it goes.
Yeah,
it's like, bro, because is it like automatic or do you have to press a button for
it's
the
an air compressor?
Yeah,
but does he do it?
Yeah, you
have
do
to
it.
Move it.
He should have said, "Oh, I gotta come out here in style." It goes
Yeah.
off.
Well, yeah, because when you park it, you gotta park it low.
Yeah.
It was just funny. Someone
can't take
literally was
off low.
shooting a gun, and he's like, "Oh, hold up."
Well, you can't drive off
Yeah, you
low. You're
can't
just
drive
gonna
low.
scrape the bottom of your car.
Yeah, but it was like he bumped up.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you gotta.
When you're on
get-
bags and you air out, bruh, you're probably good chunk, and then you go all the way down when you air out.
Oh, I thought it was
Yeah.
more like he gets to choose like how.
No, you
gotta-
air out. So when you air out, and then when you're like, when you have air in your bags, that's when you can jump it.
Okay.
And one thing I had to say about the scene that I really liked before the Crenshaw Mafia members come up and ruin the
Ruin
vibe.
the night.
I said the vibe is immaculate.
I know. dude.
Like everyone
love
is
to do
just
something like
chilling,
that.
talking, listening to music, hanging out. I kind of enjoyed the conversation with Doughboy because it kind of shows how cynical he is about the world, and people just randomly bring up the topic of like religion and God.
Well, they're like, how do we get women?
Yeah.
Like, what are the best ways to score women?
Yeah,
And there was
Chris,
one of them.
Chris was like, "You got to go to church, bro. You got to get women at church." And Doughboy's like, "Man, you can't get no girls at church. They're not gonna do anything with you." But y'all, all this other stuff, and then that extends to the conversation where they're at the car show, where I think the kid's name is Dookie,
I don't even know.
where he chews on the pacifier.
Oh, I have
I'm
no
pretty sure his
idea.
name's Dookie, but he's chewing on the pacifier, and I think he asks like, "Do you guys believe in God?" And people start saying, "Yeah, I guess I do," or "Yeah, I don't know. I never really thought about that." And Doughboy, like, you can just see this cynicism come off of him, where he was like, "No, I don't. You know, if there was a God, why would he be letting brothers get shot every day and all this stuff?" And bringing up all these questions that he has that he just never got answers to, that no one was ever able to answer, or no one was ever able to sit down and have a conversation with him about it. And he like starts getting kind of irritated with them for having this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then Trey and Ricky pull up in their little Beetle, which I have
That
to say,
Beetle is nice.
The blue?
dude, this was the movie that made me want a Volkswagen Beetle.
Really?
Yeah, I wanted Trey's Beetle. I thought that little thing was sick.
Mm.
I wanted the Beetle. It's the topic of Beetles. I wanted the Beetles from a Footloose
Oh, okay.
because I thought it was cool to have a gas pedal that was
the foot.
no,
Oh, the.
because his
What are you
gas
talking
pedal is
about?
on top on Footloose.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen Footloose in forever. I'm thinking it because like people. I mean, my mom's mom, my grandma, that I never met, used to have a Beetle, and the gas pedal was like the foot imprint.
No way.
Yeah, like it was like the foot pedal. It looked like
That's
the
actually
foot,
kind of cool.
and she would use that.
No, but it's the newer version of Footloose. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Oh, like the 2000s one.
Yeah.
Oh no.
No,
I thought you were talking about the Kevin Bacon
I
one.
haven't seen that one.
How are you? Okay,
That's the OG.
that's the OG.
I've
How
only
you gonna?
I've
Bruh.
only seen the 2010s version.
That's a sin right there, bro. How you gonna watch Footloose and not know the original?
Is Footloose like in our universe? Like that actually happened? They can't dance. It's illegal to dance or
I don't
something.
think so.
I don't think so.
Is a whole? Because I never understood.
That's a different story for a different
yeah,
day.
different story, but
Yeah.
still. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another movie that was super culturally impactful. That like took the world by storm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love this whole scene, this whole interaction on Crenshaw, and then these freaking Crenshaw Mafia guys come up, they bust, they bump Ricky. Ricky isn't having it. They start kind of squabbing with one another.
But I'd be mad too, dude.
Yeah,
Nah.
I mean,
If someone bumped into me like that's like noticeable that they meant to do it.
yeah,
I'm gonna say something, and if I get my butt kicked, I get my butt kicked. But at least I said something.
yeah,
Because
But-
nah, bruh.
yeah.
Not in that climate, bro. But Ricky didn't even strike me as the kind of guy to do that.
Yeah,
That's why whenever he was like, "What the?" I was like,
yeah,
"All right, dude."
yeah. But Ricky gets pissed and starts trying to run up on these guys, and there's like 8 of them, and Ricky is just by himself at one point.
And the women
And then-
come up, and he's like,
Yeah, and then Doughboy comes up and is
demeans
like,
her.
"Yo, we got a problem."
He
Shows his
immediately
piece.
pulls his piece out.
Yeah, and then the woman on the Crenshaw side is like, "Can't we just have one night where nobody's getting shot or anything like that?" And Doughboy starts calling her
Saying,
names.
Shut up.
Yeah, starts calling her names and all this stuff, and that just escalates the situation. And then those guys end up leaving the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Doughboy and them think that they won, right? And they get back in the car and hanging out, talking. And then all of a sudden, Those guys freaking firing off the Uzi just
in the sky,
in the air is crazy, and just it clears out that whole block. Like everybody just gets in their car and just runs, takes off.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but after that, the only other scenes that I have are the most iconic part of the movie.
Ricky.
And
I wanted to bring up the time when Trey cries in front of his girl.
Oh yeah. So give a little context to that situation, because it
So
might be bad of me, but I laughed at the part.
I laughed, but I've done that before. Where I've been so pissed. But
that was messing with me.
That was. I know it goes from something like super serious to him going like.
So, yeah, I laughed too.
Can't never have no fun.
I can't believe that.
So before this,
The cop comes back.
the cop that we experienced from him.
He doesn't even deserve to be named.
Yeah, I don't even know his name.
I don't think he has one.
They get
trash
pulled
can.
over, and it's literally right after the shooting, the Uzi scene. Like it's the same night. They get pulled over and they get pulled out of the car. And they're like, any drugs or alcohol? Like, what are you doing? Like, blah blah blah. And they're like, Trey and Ricky are being like short with him.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly Trey. He's like, I didn't do nothing, which he didn't. But this cop is being an a-hole,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "Oh, you think you're bad, huh?
Yeah.
Like, what side are you rolling?" And then pulls out his gun and like threatens him. With
Yeah.
it. Like puts it on him.
This whole
It's like I
scene
could-
is just a bro moment.
This is a
for me.
big bro moment.
Yeah, that's one of mine too.
Yeah.
And basically just like harasses them
Mm-hmm.
because they're people of color, and he has that power.
Yeah.
And then what takes me off is that you hear on the radio, we have a whatever on a blue VW Bug,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when you figure out like, oh, it's the wrong car,
Yep.
and that pisses me off that they're like.
Yeah.
And then so basically, I'm assuming Trago drops off Ricky and then goes to his
Goes to Brandy's house.
Brandy's house. That's her
Brandy.
name.
Yeah.
And she was like, I thought you were late. Or she goes, you were late. I thought something happened. You go, nothing would ever happen to me. And then like exactly how Isaiah and Nick were doing.
He's just so
He's just
frustrated.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I've done it before. I've been pissed off before where I just swing in the air, like because I don't want to break anything.
Just get a pillow, man.
And like legit, he just starts and like complaining, which is like he has a reason to be mad.
It's
But the way that he shows it, it's just like you said it, Nick. You go from something super serious to this.
Yeah.
It makes you laugh.
I also have to say with this scene, the entire time Brandy is like, she's saying like, oh, I'm Catholic. I won't give up, my virginity or anything like that unless we're married. And, you want to act like you're married, but you don't want to call me your wife and blah, 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 all this stuff and everything. And then like, just all of a sudden, because he cried in front of her, they're like, let's sleep together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like,
He goes.
What?
He literally is on like his hands and on his knees and like grabs her stomach and goes. I think he goes.
She said-
embarrassed or something.
no. She says, I don't want to get pregnant. And he goes,
You won't.
you won't.
Yeah, but what does he say? She says
That's what
like,
that led to?
Yes.
yes.
Like they're like literally laying in bed with one another, and he was like, he says something about like, oh, do you think you could get married in college, or you don't want to get married in college? And she was like, oh no, I don't necessarily want to, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And she's like, wow, you trying to say something? And he goes, no, I'm just asking, just never heard you say anything about that. And then all of a sudden, they're like kissing and stuff, and then he like grabs their like cross necklace,
Mm.
and she says, I don't want to get pregnant. And he says, you won't. And then they start practicing making a baby.
I was dying
Yeah.
laughing because she said something and then what he responded with was like, or like what he said to her. Oh, right here. Trey laughing and breaks down in tears. I never thought I'd be crying in front of a female. And she goes, you can cry in front of me. And then that's when he starts.
That's when
That's when he grabs the cross and was like,
Oh my god.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
what.
So
He said
because
from a gun to my face to crying on the floor to get in bed.
yeah,
Getting some coochie.
yeah, seriously. Yeah, it's I don't
What
know.
a-
It's
what
just
a-
a wild
What a
like
night.
arc for her character.
Mhm.
Like to just be like, I don't want to. You cried in front of me? Okay. Like it's
Okay, I'll
like,
give it to you.
Yeah, like it's just
That's
wild.
the green flag. If you can cry in front of your girl,
Yeah.
Get some cooch.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah, but then the next day is the whole getting the cornmeal scene, the most iconic part of the movie.
Yeah, this is
Forget your fish, bruh.
Yeah. Yeah, so this whole sequence is just the most iconic part of the movie. It's the one thing that if you ask anyone if they've seen Boys in the Hood, they're going to yell, "Ricky!" It's bound to happen. But this whole scene is pretty good too. I enjoy it, and I like this scene too because previously in the fishing scene with Furious and Trey, Furious talks about his time in the army whenever he served in Vietnam.
there's no place.
And he goes, "Don't you ever go in the army. There's no place for a black man in the army."
Mm-mm.
And exactly. And Trey sees this commercial on TV for the army. And if we haven't already mentioned, Trey is a teenage father, and he, wants to go to college to play college football and eventually go to the NFL. But whenever this college recruiter comes over
Ricky.
to him,
Ricky.
Yes. Or did I say? Who did I say?
You said Trey.
Oh, I said Trey.
I was
sorry.
like, wait, Trey's the virgin.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
The
Ricky.
virgin.
Yeah, Ricky.
I
I
Yeah,
thought that was funny. That's a
seriously.
promo too. Whenever he says, "I lied to my dad today."
Yeah.
and I was like, he lied.
Yeah,
That
but
is-
but Ricky is a teenage father. He's wanting to play professional football.
He's got it too.
Yeah, and he has
the clips that he has are.
he has potential.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
has incredible potential and shows this college recruiter, his tape, and he really wants to do something with his life. And that college recruiter puts him in a position where I don't think he ever really did. Where I don't think Ricky ever really thought about it. Where he was
Yeah.
like, well, let's say you don't make it to the professional league,
Yeah,
like.
it's a big.
It's a big
chance.
possibility
Yeah.
that could not happen. So what do you want to do? Like, you need to earn a college degree in something. So what do you think? And he's like, I don't know, maybe business or something. Like, I like computers. And
Maybe I could do something with that.
yeah, and so he's like, okay, yeah, let's try it out. So whenever you do graduate, you can come to this college and find out what you want to do and earn a degree in that, and then potentially go on to play football.
Mm-hmm.
Well, throughout the course of that, I'm
Commercial.
assuming, yeah. Well, throughout the course of that, from that scene up until this scene, it's not shown like that he has any doubts or anything like that about actually getting in or anything like that. But he sees this commercial for the army, and gets asked to go get cornmeal for this fish fry that his girl's having, and so he goes out to go get it, and him and Doughboy end up having a fight and all this stuff because Doughboy gets treated kind of unfairly by the mom. And
I actually
gets
think
treated like
he gets treated like trash. by
yeah,
his
he
mom.
gets
does.
treated as lesser than
For sure.
than Ricky. And Ricky goes off, storms off, and Trey follows him, and Ricky starts saying like, I think I'm just gonna go in the army, man. Like, they can help me pay for college. I need to provide for my family. Like, I got a son I got to take care of.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And-
he's trying to be responsible.
Yeah, he's like, I got to do something, man. Like, I'm going to be graduating high school soon. Who knows if this college ball thing or professional football thing will ever even work out. I'm not sure. The Army could provide me with, stability. Like, it will give me a place to live. They'll feed me. I can earn money while I'm doing it, and they'll help me pay for college.
Yeah, but you'll lose yourself in the process.
Yeah, and he's like, and Trey, provides him with this other side where he's like, but you're also like gonna be becoming a slave to the government,
Mhm.
and like they're gonna do whatever it is that they want with you. You have no say. And I like that Trey like has Ricky's back and wants him to chase his dreams because he's like, no, dude, you don't understand. You have potential. You just need to, get back on track and realize where that potential is at and continue with it.
Mhm.
And they end up going to the store, getting this cornmeal, and walking back. And as they're walking back, the red car that the Crenshaw Mafia members be driving around in pull up on them and kind of just waiting at a light. And they're walking, and then Ricky and Trey kind of stop, and they're like, okay, this car's been following us for a minute. Whenever I say cut, we're going to, cut through these houses, hop some fences, and get out of here and try to meet you back at your place because these guys are trying to press us. And these guys, immediately start taking off at them. They start running around, hopping fences and all this stuff. And they get into this alleyway. And this is the part that pissed me off the most.
Yeah.
Quote, pissed.
Yeah.
Because
No pun
Ricky, in
intended.
the middle of this chase, is like, hold on, man. I got to drain the weasel, is what he says, bro.
Most random.
Yeah, and I'm like, you gotta pee right now, bruh. You could potentially lose your life.
Adrenaline would be like, nah, pee doesn't exist right now.
Yeah,
Just get home.
we gotta get home, and you could pee there. He's like, no,
Honestly,
bruh.
I pee myself.
Yeah, he's like, no, I gotta pee right here, right now. And of course, he's doing that. They're trying to run around the block to go catch him. While they're doing that, Doughboy and his buddies catch them running by their house again. They're like, hey, what's going on? Let's hop in the car and see what's going on. And
Well, Doughboy puts like 2 and 2 together.
He knows. Doughboy knows.
Doughboy was like,
He goes, Ricky.
yeah,
because they came by before they went to the store,
yeah,
and they realized where he lives now,
yeah,
and then they saw them skirt by their house, knowing Ricky's on the streets.
yeah, yeah. And so Doughboy goes out just trying to run around and catch them, and Ricky and Trey have the genius idea to be like, let's split up.
It's Ricky's idea, and it's the worst idea possible.
Yeah.
Stupid.
He's like, let's split up, and I'll just meet you back at your house. They can't catch us both. And he's like, okay, fine. Yeah, I'll meet you at your house. And Ricky starts walking the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
And that red car pulls out that freaking double barrel shotgun and blasts Ricky.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we get the iconic Trey screaming, Ricky!
Takes him out.
He starts trying to run away, takes him out, kills him. Doughboy and then pull up a second too late. Ricky's already dead. They pull him in the...
taking him into the house and like having all the
all
mom and
yeah.
girl see.
Yeah.
That's just rough.
It was rough. Yeah, and that whole scene is just... It's hard to watch. It's tough. And then I also... I mean, I go into my next favorite scene with the whole revenge scene.
Well, and I wanted to mention this was... You put yourself in Trey and Doughboy's shoes. Are you doing something?
No. Like, I would want to, but realistically, like, thinking about something, I'm not going to put myself in a position to, like, ruin my life.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do anything either.
I think I'd do something.
Well, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even be in that position in the first place.
Yeah. But
Imagine some fools just come up and shoot me.
I would cry.
Yeah.
I'm not going to enact revenge.
I don't even own a weapon, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, what am I gonna do with these?
Yeah.
Can't do much.
I think I would.
I'm not John Wick.
No, dude. Give me a pencil.
Yeah.
I think I would though.
No,
I would want to. Like,
No, I think
there's
I'd
no
find a
doubt.
way.
There's no doubt in me that like I would want to, and like I think it's innate in anybody to want to, get back at somebody or
Yeah.
something like that. But actually, I don't think that would actually happen. For me, like I don't think I would do anything. No.
I definitely wouldn't take your dead body into like your dad's house and show
put you
every-
on the couch and be like, "Look what happened to your kid."
Bro,
I would never,
Imagine my
ever
little
do
brother
that.
Leo seeing me like that.
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
I would be like, leave him in the car and just like slowly call him out or something. Don't make
Yeah.
a big deal about it.
Yeah.
Maybe they try to think like, oh, he's still alive. We can save him.
No, I
He
feel
was
like
He was dead on arrival.
Alive.
he was dead.
lifeless.
Yeah, he was dead on arrival. But I
Yeah.
also think they took him there because if you see, early on in the movie, they just leave a dead body out in nowhere,
That's
Mhm.
true.
and he's in the middle of an alley.
Yeah.
You think somebody random is just gonna call the cops and be like, "Oh, there's a dead body here,"
Yeah, that's
when
true.
those people were over there? So
Yeah. I wanted to mention, I thought it was kind of ironic that he was playing the lottery whenever he got shot.
Mm.
Like, he's doing the scratchers, thinking
Well,
he's
he
like,
was
oh,
losing.
man, yeah, maybe I could change my luck. Like, hoping that he had better chances, like, right before he gets killed.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little bit of irony there. I thought that was nice. And also the jazz that's playing in the background, like, right whenever it's happening, like, you just hear these horns just going, like, just, getting super cacophonous and all this stuff. And then
wait, what was that word you said?
cacophonous.
I've never heard that before.
It's
What
like
does that
a
mean?
cacophony of sounds.
A big, rolling wall, like, of sound.
That was a big word. That hurt my brain.
But yeah, I loved all that was going on. And then it's also a bro moment seeing that Ricky passed his SATs barely.
Yeah.
By
Like-
10 points.
Yeah, they tell him you need a 700 to pass, and he got 710.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I have to say too, I like whenever Trey goes back to his house and he's like dead set on like, I'm getting my dad's gun. We're gonna go find these guys. I'm gonna kill them.
Mm-hmm.
I like that Furious presses him, and it's like,
says,
oh,
"Well,
you're bad now.
You're
huh?
bad now.
You're gonna go be like Chris. You're gonna be like Doughboy and them. Well, what do you think you're gonna do? And I like that he is like, you're gonna give me the gun. You're not gonna do anything because you're my kid. I'm not gonna lose you out there to some stupid stuff that they're doing out there.
Mm.
you need to, get your head on straight and think about what it is that you're actually doing here. Give me the gun.
Right.
And they share this moment with one another where they like hug, and he's like, I'm sorry that you lost your friend, but I can't lose you. Like, I need to protect you. You're my kid. And it's just another one of those moments between them where they kind of get to have that bond with one another.
Yeah.
But then it's a bro moment, finding out he freaking hops out the window and is like, I'm out. I'm going with them.
He's gonna do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He decides not to though, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, and that goes into my last favorite scene here, is the whole revenge scene.
Just that.
Yeah.
Getting him.
Yeah.
It low-key felt kind of good, but then it was like,
well,
what is this revenge gonna get you?
Exactly, and that's one of the things.
Ricky's still gonna be dead.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I liked, is that you can see actually Ice Cube like drop a tear whenever he does kill the guy, because he recognizes like this doesn't bring Ricky back.
No.
Like I'm contributing to the cycle of violence that we are so caught up in, and like this is contributing to nothing. And that whole revenge scene is just. I like the way that it's shot. Like, it's like at nighttime. These guys are driving around in this car looking for these fools. Trey is like, you know what? Let me out. I don't need to do this. Let me out. Gets out, goes home. And Doughboy, Dookie, and I think the guy's name is Monster.
Yeah, Monster.
They're looking for these guys actively, and they can't find them. So they're like, man, let's go get something to eat. So they go to this burger place where these guys happen to be sitting outside eating. And the look of the place is cool. It's like, surrounded by this like blue and pink neon, and California nights they hit different. Like, nighttime in California in the summer feels amazing to be able to sit outside and especially like have a bite to eat. Like, imagine sitting outside of an In-N-Out at like 8 at night.
8 at night with the neon lights
Yeah,
on you and stuff.
drinking a milkshake, eating fries, a burger. Like, there's no feeling like it.
After a football game.
Yeah,
No, I'm
and
joking.
these guys are having a meal, and little do they know it would be their last. And they're driving up, and they see them like, hey, there they are right there. There's those guys. And he's like, turn the lights off. And they freaking somehow Monster has an AK. Like this dude straight up has an AK and loads that thing, and they pull up on these guys and just start freaking blasting them. Yeah, they start blasting these fools, and he kills a couple of them. 2 of them only get injured. Doughboy
just crawling away.
Yeah, Doughboy gets out and freaking.
He made them crawlers, bro.
Yeah, he did. They're all.
I hate you for that.
They're all.
Zap!
I wish I could do that zombie scream.
Which one? No.
The one the girl. Have you seen the girl?
No.
He straight up is like, I don't remember the name of her, but he goes, hey, do the zombie scream, and she turns and does it, and it sounds exactly like it.
Yeah.
We'll have to look it up
Yeah, I have
after.
to pull it up.
Yeah, but he one of the guys gets killed. 2 of the other guys are crawling away, and Doughboy gets out and like executes them, like cold-blooded murder like style, where he just straight up looks at these guys and pops them in the head while they're on the floor. And one of the guys that does the driving, he's the last guy to get killed. He's wearing the Chicago Bulls beanie.
Mm-hmm. So I didn't pull the
Yeah,
trigger.
and he's like, it wasn't me. I didn't pull the trigger, man.
But you drove the car.
Yeah. And
You're association of murder. You're part of the group.
Yeah, and Doughboy shoots him, and I love the camera angle too. Whenever he shoots him, and like the blood kind of splatters on him, and you can see him kind of cry a little bit because he has that moment where he's like, "This doesn't bring my brother back. Like this doesn't help at all." But I made my choice. I got to live with it now. And they get back in the car and drive off, and after that, I mean, that's pretty much the end of the movie there. It goes into like a whole like epilogue type thing where it shows like that, Doughboy ended up getting murdered 2 weeks later, and that Brandy and Trey went off to college and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And I do have to say too, before we finish the favorite scenes up, I did like whenever Doughboy walks across the street to talk to Trey, and he has this moment of clarity where he was like,
they either don't show.
yeah,
Don't.
he said they either don't know, they don't show, or
They don't care
they don't care. And
about what's going on.
yeah, and he was like basically saying, everything that happened last night, I was watching the news and they're talking about how we live in such a violent world. And they were showing all these videos of foreign places and all the violence that they endure. And he said, but not once did I ever see something about my brother or anything that ever happens here in the hood.
Yeah.
They don't care about what happens in the hood.
I heard that, but realistically, they didn't do anything to call the cops or anything, so of course they're not going to do anything when they say that. But I feel like they should have said something about a triple murder.
But what I think Doughboy is hitting at is a bigger issue.
Yeah,
than
no,
just
I get it,
a
like,
local murder.
Yeah, like
no one ever.
When something happens in the hood, no one knows about it.
No one ever talks about what goes on in the hood because that's like a third world.
Yeah.
Like no one wants to address it. They want to just kind of
like,
sweep it under
I
the
hate
rug.
to say it, but just like Skid Row.
Yeah.
And I hate to compare it, but like, I did some work in Skid Row, and like one of the questions was to ask the police station, because the police station is one thing that I hate about the police station in Skid Row is they have no windows. And one of the questions on like our mission was to like ask the police station why, and their answer that they gave me, what still hurts me this day, was because we don't want to see what's outside.
They don't want to see it. Yeah.
The police said that on Skid Row, bro. Like, if you don't see a problem with that, you're the problem.
Yeah. And it just goes into that mindset of like, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
If it doesn't affect me, I don't have to worry
so
about it.
I get what you're saying, that like,
and that's where Doughboy has that moment of clarity where he's like,
they don't see.
They don't see us. They don't care about us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have to sit here and fend for ourselves. And this is that moment where I wish Doughboy was a part of that conversation where Trey and Ricky got to be where with Frears was talking about gentrification and all that stuff and black empowerment and not killing one another and being there for one another and uplifting. And he unfortunately got that conversation a little too late, and he ends up dying 2 weeks later, which is pretty sad. But yeah, after that, I think that's pretty much the end of the movie from there.
Yeah, that's the movie. That's Boys in
That's Boys
Boys
in the Hood.
That's it.
Yeah. So if that's it for the favorite scenes, you guys got any best quotes?
I have one more.
I only had that one from Furious.
I had that one as well, but I have one more. It's kind of funny. It's kind of inappropriate, but it's funny. It's when they see Brandy, but she's young. And it's Doughboy. Doughboy Trey.
He says, that's my girl. That's my lady.
And
Oh,
she
but
go-
I put my...
Yeah. And then Doughboy goes, she's my wife. And Trey goes, she's my wife. And Doughboy goes, she may be your wife, but I stick my ding-a-ling in her at night. And
Stupid little kids.
Yeah, dude.
it's just a stupid little kid. That's something that kids would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made me laugh.
Yeah, there's another interaction when they're older, but it's still kind of a little kid dialogues when they're talking, and he's like, "Man, you don't get none of this. You don't get what I get. You mess around with the what does he call them?
Dope heads."
And he's like, "Nah, I don't ever do it. I don't ever go that far, but I do let them do something."
Yeah. And he's like, you can still get AIDS from that. And he's all, you really can?
Yeah, he's like, really? They're like,
You're
dude, they're like, you can
scaring
straight
me.
up die in 5 years, and he's like, can I really die right now?
You guys
And
just
everyone's
scare
like,
me.
Yeah.
bro, you're stupid.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else.
Yeah,
No,
same here.
Yeah, that's it for me.
All right, let's get into bro moments.
Yeah.
My first one is whenever those dudes point the shotgun at Trey when he's walking home from Doughboy's party.
For no reason.
Yeah.
Oh, that's 7 years later one.
Yeah.
No reason at all. They just
none.
pull it out and
Yeah.
point it.
Yeah.
I have like 4 before that.
What's it?
All right, so I'm just gonna speed them because they're small. Seeing the crime scene, such a little kid.
Oh, yeah.
True.
That cop is trash, showing up an hour late.
Dude.
Seeing the dead body.
Mhm.
Imagine seeing a dead body so young.
Yeah.
And then Doughboy getting arrested
as a little kid?
as a little kid.
Yeah. I have to say, too, I did like that part whenever they're driving and he's like, oh, I love this song. And you hear, ooh, child. And they're sitting there having that moment singing. And then it's playing while they're getting taken away.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just funny seeing them getting put in the back of the cop car. And Trey is,
So little.
with his dad singing the song, having a good time. And then they're getting put in the back of another car in a different context.
Yeah, it makes sense too because before they're like, oh, let's go to the store. He's like, with what money? What are you gonna buy?
Yeah.
He's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So
I don't need your money. But literally like a minute before your bro moment was the baby in the road.
yes,
Oh,
I
yeah.
have Baby in the Street. That's
Yes.
just
Oh my
terrible.
gosh. Also, I hate that car. That green, just the color.
The green one?
The lime green
What was he
color.
gonna do? Run over the baby? Like, dude,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
10 points.
That lady's just just trash.
You got some
Yeah.
blow. You got some
some rock?
You got some rock.
I'll
Yeah. Dude. Yeah.
I give you a $10.
Yeah.
$5. Yeah.
Another one for me. Whenever Trey's on the phone with Brandy, and he's
You
like,
gonna give me the skins?
he's like, you gonna give me the skins or not?
I said, you gonna give me the skins or what to mama?
Yeah, and he asks her the whole time. She's like, you gave me the skins or what? And she's like, is that all you ever think about? And he's like, no. And they start talking, and then his mom ends up calling on the other line, and he's like, okay, yeah, let me hang up with Brandy real quick. And he thinks he switches over to the other line, and he gets back on, and he's like, so you gave me the skins or what? And she's all, like, this is your mother, Trey. And he's all, oh, I'm sorry, Mama. Let me hang up on her real quick. Yeah, that was fun.
Dang. Drinking a half a gallon of milk with no judgment, like just out in public.
Oh yeah, just having the carton out. Ricky was just walking around with a half
don't get me
gallon
wrong,
of milk.
I love milk, but I will not be out.
He's just
in public
drinking whole milk, like just out in public,
Warm,
like from
carton.
the Anchorman, like wherever he's like, milk was a bad choice, like drinking the milk.
Dude,
that's Ricky right there.
I love milk, but I mean,
you need them strong bones.
I don't.
I like that. It's got to be icy cold for me to want to enjoy that.
Yeah, but from there, the obvious ones: cops pulling Trey and Ricky over.
Yep.
Okay, you guys are gonna laugh at me because I make fun of it now, but it was a serious situation at that time. But I said, bruh, getting pulled over gave me Mexico flashbacks.
Oh.
And to hit on that, I went to Mexico when I was like 10 years old, and like 5 AKs pointed at me from the cartel, and that gave me flashbacks. I said, heck no, bruh. Yeah. I'd cry too.
Yeah.
I mean, I did more than cry.
Yeah.
I pooped my pants.
Brown pants, dude.
Did you really?
What are you gonna do with 5 AKs pointed at you?
I mean, yeah, it's scary, but you really pooped your pants.
Yeah. They came up to me, bro. I remember the whole thing. I could give you picture by picture. We turned this corner right before my grandfather's avocado farm to open the fence, and there's just 2 red trucks. They're both GMC Sierras, brand freaking new. Next thing you know, 8 people pop out.
Dang.
All have freaking guns. Tell us to get out and on our knees. My dad's crying. I've never seen my dad cry until then. Mm-hmm. And he's like, he was straight up like, we're not doing anything. We're going to our farm. Like, and my kid's here. Yeah. And then they came up to me and they're like, is this your kid? And that's when I said, that's when I pooped myself. That's when I pooped myself. Sorry.
Went pedos.
Dude, I could imagine. They're like, doo-doo.
Oh, that's doo-doo.
Dude, I couldn't.
This kid's scared. Let him go.
Somebody fought it.
Yeah. For real. All right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss.
Any other ones?
Not for me.
I was actually.
We haven't already talked about it at least.
No.
That's it. Oh, I thought Doughboy going crazy at the end too.
Oh, yeah, I put Doughboy executing, but then we talked about it.
He straight up executed them.
Yeah.
And then the ending text for me was like, bruh. It was crazy that there was so much plot about characters just thrown into text.
Yeah.
On the screen, like literally, Doughboy dies.
Lazy
Doughboy dies 2 weeks later. That's insane.
Yeah.
I was
Show us. Don't tell us.
Yeah. Don't make it.
All right. Well, that's it for the bro moments. Let's get into some of the facts. So I have down here, I didn't know this movie was Oscar nominated.
Yeah. It is Oscar nominated.
Got nominated for Best Director and Best Screenplay.
Yeah. Do you know who won Best Director that year?
No.
Jonathan Demme for Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, okay. That's a good movie. It's definitely deserving.
Yeah.
I'd also read, too, that John Singleton's Oscar nomination for Best Director was it made him the youngest to ever receive such an accolade. He received that nomination at the age of 24.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so insane.
Yeah.
Real quick, the budget for this movie was $6.5 million. Opening weekend, it made $10 million. Gross for U.S. and Canada made $57.5 million. And gross worldwide made $57.8 million.
Wow.
6 to 50.
Yeah, so this movie killed.
Yeah, it really did cool.
Yeah, it made more than enough.
Yeah.
Something that I thought was actually pretty cool, and it makes me think about one specific scene, is when the gang members shoot the Uzi up in the air. And it says, to maintain a sense of realism, writer and director John never warned the actors and actresses about when shots were going to be fired, just so the reactions would be real. So imagine us chilling and you just hear the Uzi going off. Those are real reactions.
Yeah. I had also read something, too, in that scene. that you can see Cuba Gooding Jr. almost get his leg run over by
Yeah, he slips.
Yeah, by Ice Cube's Impala.
Really?
Yeah,
It's a
whenever he
still.
pulls out, you can straight up see him almost get his leg run over.
Let's see if I
Wow.
can find
And
it still real quick.
one of the things that, because they did that take a couple of times, I guess, but John Singleton kept that specific take in because he thought it made it look more real that he like slipped around and was trying to gain his footing and everything. Yeah, from that too.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's like super close. There's a still. Like,
Yeah.
I think I might pick it actually.
All right.
And you literally see his foot like a foot away from the tire.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that's pretty close.
Yeah, I actually have another one in regards to the Crenshaw Mafia members. The guy that played the guy who shot Ricky, his name is Lloyd Avery II. And he's the guy that actually pulls the trigger. He actually became a real-life member of the Bloods after the movie's release. And he was arrested in real life in connection with a double homicide, was sentenced to life in prison, and then was killed on September 6th, 2005 by his cellmate.
That's insane.
Which I thought was pretty wild.
You know, in terms of investment, then this was 1991's most financially successful movie, making $56.1 million from a budget of 6.5.
That is pretty wild.
1991, making a lot. Ice Cube owns the gold Chevrolet Impala that his character drove. He actually owns it.
That's goated.
That was cool.
I'd be mad. I'm mad. I want a car like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
I'd actually read here too. We were talking a little bit before about NWA and kind of just everything that was going on in the rap scene at that time.
Oh yeah.
At the time of this movie, Ice Cube had a big falling out with NWA and went on his own. Started a solo career and then also dropped diss tracks because NWA dropped a diss track about him. And
What
so
song did they drop?
it was on their second album where they talked about Ice Cube being like Benedict Arnold, and like
yeah.
stabbing them in the back
Oh, wow.
and all this stuff. And so Ice Cube came back with No Vaseline, absolutely bodied him. And from there, they just had this beef that had been going on for quite a long time. And originally, the reason I bring that up is that John Singleton originally wanted the members of NWA as part of Ice Cube's entourage in the movie. He originally wanted all of the members to be the guys that Ice Cube hung out with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and but because Ice Cube had left NWA over the salary dispute that resulted in the feud and the diss tracks and everything like that, it forced John to recast the roles for Ice Cube's buddies that he hangs out with, including the infamous chain snatcher scene. And that's whenever
That blew me away. I never would have got that if it wasn't for you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I never noticed that whenever that chain snatching scene happens, the guy that does the chain snatching is wearing an Eazy-E shirt and it says "We Want Easy," and then he tries to snatch the chain, and then Doughboy and his buddies roll up on that guy and beat the crap out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's not a subliminal message,
Trash at him.
yeah, they throw a trash can on him and everything. If that's not a subliminal message, I don't know what is.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they did easy dirty there. I have two. I'm just gonna put this into one fact. It's two into one. It's back to casting. Will Smith was considered for the role of Trey, but turned it down due to his commitment with French.
Whoa,
The French-
French Prince of Bel-Air.
Different. Give me the baguette.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Eddie Murphy was considered for the role of Furious Styles.
I saw Eddie Murphy. I don't think it would have worked.
No
No.
way.
I would have
Donkey?
laughed.
No.
I would have laughed.
Lawrence Fishburne has that.
Could you imagine Eddie Murphy being like, "You got to get up out of these streets, man"? Like, dude, that would have been bad, bro. Lawrence Fishburne kills it.
He
killed
kills
it.
it.
He kills it.
You know what's my favorite movie with him, and you guys are gonna dog on me
The
for it?
Matrix.
Matrix.
No, Aquila and the Bee.
Bro,
I don't know what that is, bro.
In my entire life.
You've never heard of Aquila and the Bee?
No.
Bruh, come on, that's Kiki, what's her last
Kiki
name?
Palmer?
Kiki Palmer, yeah. She does the spelling bee. Are you looking it up?
I'm looking up his movies that he's been in, but I'm not sure.
Is there anything else for the facts here?
Oh, yeah, I got one more. If you want to know anything about Ricky Baker, I'm going to give you
Who's
some
that?
information. Ricky.
Oh, Ricky.
Yeah.
I
his
don't
last name
understand
is
where this
Baker.
information comes from.
I don't know either, but it was on IMDb, so I'm going to tell you. He was born on February 8th, 1974. His social security number is 573-622-2923. Again, I'm not going to read it again. His phone number is
Mid-identity
555-2214, and his verbal SAT score was 300, and his math was 410. So he passed.
Maybe like some superfan could see that on the result or something.
I don't know.
So they just wrote it all down.
No idea how they got that.
Because that's some extensive lore for as little of a character as we get out of Ricky.
Seriously.
What doesn't work here?
Social Security?
Yeah, what doesn't work in this movie?
I don't know. I think this movie.
I put down that the first half of the movie pales in comparison to the second.
Yeah,
Really?
the first half is not the best. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, when you say first half, what do you mean?
Like the whole 1984 versus 7 years later.
Oh, I might be in the minority here. I like the kid actors more than I like the adult actors.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
I thought they
rare
had
for
more
you.
character
and more
That's
charisma
surprising.
together.
That's surprising for you to say.
Yeah, and they were the least predictable. They were the most like it was the most engaged I was with the film.
Mm.
And that was one of the things that it didn't work was when the time gap happened, because I was like, yes, I'm getting introduced to these characters. I'm starting to like that. I'm starting to get to know this world, the community that they're in. And then it was like 7 years later, and I'm like, my enjoyment came to a screeching halt, because I'm like, now I got to do this all again. Like, I got to meet the same characters again, but they're going to be different because now it's 7 years, and we got to find out where they're at now. Like, I just feel like the pacing really just reset for me, and my momentum was like, It was
I get
rough. And then for some movies, I really enjoy that there's like no story, or there's no like real plot. Like it's just scenes that are tied together.
Yeah.
This one is similar, and I did not like that very much.
Yeah, there's no plot.
There's no plot.
No. It just seemed like there were some really interesting parts, and then there were some really boring parts.
No, and I can agree with you.
So I was my engagement of the movie was like, okay, I'm in. All right, I'm bored.
That was me with the first part.
Really inconsistent.
My engagement was probably like solid for a good like 5-10 minutes in the beginning, and then just dropped down. And then that's why I needed a break from watching the movie. I literally paused it and got up, and I was like, I'm gonna go talk to Isaiah, see what he's doing. And that's why I went over there, and I was like, so I agree with you. I also don't think you can take a lot from this movie.
I think you can.
You can take
There's
you can take
definitely
big things, but you can't take a lot of things.
What do you mean? You don't? What can't you take?
I mean, if you were to go to Compton right now, it's not the same as this. So if someone were to watch this and be like, "Oh, Compton's like this, like this, like this," I'm gonna be like, "No, times have changed." Like, so
I think whenever you say that, like, because you can take something from this movie, because there is an overall message for the movie that the movie is trying to present, and that, I mean, they even blast it in your face at the end, increase the peace.
Yep.
And so I mean, there is things that you can learn or understand from the movie and take away from it. Are you saying that like this just isn't how Compton actually is?
not anymore.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. What else doesn't work?
I put that it was predictable. Very, very predictable, especially the ending. I did not like how ham-fisted the ending came with the Ricky getting shot. I was just like, of course it had to be like the person who died obviously was going to be the one with the most potential. Like I was not ever fearing for my life for Doughboy or for any of his other partners there. I knew for sure that Ricky was going to die.
Yeah.
And then once they got to that scene at the end, and he's like, let me go pee. I was like, yeah. This is exactly as I feared.
Yeah.
Didn't like it.
I also have to say there are some characters here that overact hard.
Yeah. Dude, there's one character.
I hated whenever the mom and the girl come out, and the mom is going, "Oh God! Oh God! Oh God!" I was like,
It's horrible.
"Oh,
I hate it when she's hugging Doughboy and she goes, "You did this," and her voice is shaking.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It was.
Or when the girl
took
girl's
me out
holding
of
the
it.
baby.
Yeah. It took me out of it. It was
Not good. Not
Yeah.
good.
Respect to Doughboy, he was like, "Give me the baby." Like,
yeah.
no baby
You
should
don't need
have
to be seeing this.
Don't need to be seeing this.
Yeah. It was tough.
There was also a scene too. I don't know if you caught it when they were young, and the dude goes to smack Doughboy when he was little. you can tell that there's no connection.
Oh,
Really?
Like you can
backhand?
tell that like he like either hit before and he just flew back. Like there was no connection.
Mm.
And I saw that and I was like, what?
There's an
This doesn't look real at all.
There's an overactor, and it's when Ricky gets bumped into before the shooting in the air, and this guy randomly shows up behind Doughboy, and he's acting all tough, and you can see him in his face just go, and it's so funny. Like he's acting tough, but it's like, dude, your face doesn't show that you're tough.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some overacting here.
For
They
sure.
definitely oversell their roles. Anything else that doesn't work?
I don't think I'm gonna come back to this movie for a while.
Yeah, I mean,
neither.
I understand why the movie is culturally relevant, and why so many people love it. I haven't watched it in a really long time, except for just now, and I don't know if it has the rewatchability that I thought it did.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it has a rewatch. Like I used to love this movie.
It was
Yeah.
weird. I don't know. I just didn't find the flow. There was no
Yeah.
flow.
Yeah.
That's what I was missing. It was just like a roller coaster, and
Yeah.
I really was not enjoying it. I don't know how else to say it other than, well, let's get
No,
into it.
You're
Yeah.
saying the
Let's
truth.
build.
though.
Let's build it up. I liked the story.
Yeah.
Obviously, like the actual details of the story, what
Mhm.
they were trying to show. I thought it was real impactful, and I can see why it's had such an impact in the cultural main stage,
Yeah, definitely.
especially at the time.
I don't know how to say this, but I'm gonna try to say it in like the easiest way possible. And I was trying to explain it to Isaiah before we were recording. Was I wish I can be in this time without being in this time, if that makes sense.
He just wants to go to the barbecues.
I want to be at the barbecues, hearing
He just
Gotta
wants
let
to go
the
to the
music
"More
go first.
bounce to the end."
He
Or
just
hearing-
He just wants to go to the cookouts and hear Zapp and Roger.
Mhm.
Bro,
And-
I want to be on
and
Crenshaw,
dance.
like not when they're shooting, but I want to be like, man,
He wants to be at all the events. He doesn't want the drama. That
I don't
comes
want
with
no
it.
drama. I don't want no drama. I don't got no drama.
Yeah. I have to agree. I think I just wrote down that I think that the movie has good writing because the film still holds up to this day.
Mm.
Like it's still relevant. There is still,
There's still problems that you
there's-
see in this movie that you see with
that you still see today.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think the movie does incredibly well that does kind of suck when it comes to real life. Like it still unfortunately is relevant.
yeah.
It's double one word there, but it is. I think that the writing in that aspect is pretty good. I also thought that the movie, for it being a directorial debut, had pretty good direction. Yeah, there are some issues like with the actual pacing and flow of the movie. I agree as well, but for it being a debut, and for it being as successful as it is, and also as culturally, impactful as it is, I think that is also pretty great in that.
I mean, that
aspect.
tells a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does.
Yeah.
The soundtrack on this, dude, again, it's just
Bangers.
they're all bangers. Like,
Yep. Can't
Mm.
complain in that aspect.
mm.
I also have to say I enjoyed some of the acting. I like Ice Cube's
Ice Cube.
performance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm.
I enjoy his. I also, I mean, I like Cuba Gooding Jr. in some instances, except for that part where he goes, and
I just didn't find him as compelling as his child counterpart.
yeah,
It's
but
kind of strange.
and that's what I was gonna say was I also really enjoy the child actors. I think
Yeah.
that they do a lot, but I don't know. Whenever it comes to watching the child part of things, my attention is just
Right, yeah,
It's
my
not
attention
not
span
there.
is
It's
low.
not there,
Mm.
and I'm yearning for the second half.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know.
That's interesting. Maybe it's like because you knew what was coming.
Mhm.
Maybe you wanted to see like that emotional stakes and all that stuff. But I was just like, I don't know any of these kids.
Yeah.
I don't know any of this. Like
Yeah.
this is this is when I got most of their character.
Mhm.
Like, and they were kind of dynamic in ways that I wasn't expecting. And then kind of when they grow up, it's just like Doughboy's hard.
Yeah.
Trey is trying to get out of here.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Trey kind of loses a lot of character. The only time we ever get him is with him and Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah.
Which really, like, those are the scenes that really kept me feeling great about this movie.
Yeah.
Because him and Lawrence Fishburne, especially that one time where he brings him food from the cookout, and he's
Yeah.
like, hey, can you cut my hair afterwards? He's like,
Bro, I
I'm eating.
love that
He's like,
scene.
no, afterwards. And he's doing it, and that's when they start talking about. That's when he lies about
about losing his virginity.
Right. And
Yeah.
it just was good. I
Yeah.
like
I
those.
don't know.
those
Like her
scenes.
grandma can smell sex in the air.
Yeah, I know. That was like, it was a good little made up story though.
Yeah. That whole scene is pretty funny too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I want to comment. I wish I could dress up like Ice Cube, bro.
you can.
I can't because there's some of the stuff I just don't like. Like
So then why would you want to dress up like if you don't like it?
with like
His last fit was kind of just like a sweater.
Yeah, he's just wearing a sweater
Yeah.
and some 501s and Air Forces.
And you always have to have that big old bottle of beer.
I'll take
You
a
have
40
to.
any day,
40.
bro. I'll have a 40. A 40. You know,
St. Ides or Old English.
no, I'm getting a 40 of Corona or Modelo.
He's sipping on that thing, dude.
Yeah, malt liquor. Those things are
Bro,
nasty,
no.
They're cheap. They're cheap though.
Mad
that's why-
Dog 2020. Did you ever sip on that?
No,
Man, I used to drink Mad Dog in high school.
that's some
Cheap,
That's
cheap liquor.
Put
Cheap
some hair
stuff.
on your chest.
Yeah. Anything else for what did work?
Mm-mm.
All right,
That's it.
let's move into who wins the movie.
Lawrence Fishburne.
I agree.
I put Lawrence Fishburne.
He's goated.
I
Yeah,
put him and then Ice Cube mix.
yeah, I agree. I think Lawrence Fishburne takes it. Here.
Mm-hmm.
What are some themes for this movie?
Grace the piece.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that's the main thing, and that's the whole point.
Yeah.
I think.
Got to break the cycle of violence.
Yeah. Especially in with your own, like in your
With
own
your
community,
Yeah.
with your own people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This whole movie made me think of Kendrick Lamar's album "To Pimp a Butterfly," and it hits on a lot of those themes as well as like just like being proud to be black and black excellence and love and I don't know. I found myself afterwards wanting to listen to that album after watching the movie because it also deals a lot with those themes. But I think that album definitely tackles the themes a lot better.
Mm.
And yeah, so afterwards you're gonna hear me bumping King Kunta, let man take a no less. Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't think there's anything else to really be
Yeah,
said
I
about
have
the themes
put.
here.
Be sure to surround yourself with what's good. What's around you can definitely influence you in your decisions.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's
Your environment shapes who you are.
It does. It really does.
What are we rating this bad boy?
I'm not going first.
No,
I'm
I
not
read
going. No,
neither.
I'm not going first this time. Someone else take this.
I give it a 7.
I gave it a 7.
I gave it a 6.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's about it. So if you stuck all the way to the end of the episode, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Leave us a like on the YouTube channels or rate and review the show on the audio platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, also give us a comment or subscribe to the channel so that way you guys are up to date with all the current episodes we're putting out each week. If you are liking what we're doing, again, either leave us a like, whatever it is, a dislike, leave us a comment telling us what it is that we're not doing that you don't like or that you do like, or either do that with a rate and review. It helps out any criticism we can get or any, love or anything like that we can get as well. Definitely helps. So, let us know through those platforms or through our episode description with our social media contacts. We got our Instagram or Letterboxd accounts or the email. You could also send all that stuff over through there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, we're going to get into our next pick.
Yeah, it's your pick, I think.
Yes, it is. And we're going to do a movie that I haven't watched in so freaking long. But it was a movie that I loved when I was a kid. And I remember having the VHS for this movie. So it's been a really long time since I've watched it. But I remember loving it. I know it's a good movie. And it's out of my comfort zone because I usually don't love animation.
True.
So we're going to dive into a movie called The Iron Giant.
1999.
Yes. And this is I might be biased, maybe nostalgia speaking for me, but it's an incredible movie.
Mm.
Isn't Vin Diesel in this movie?
Yeah, he voices the giant.
He's the Iron Giant.
Yeah, and I love this movie, man. I am excited to rewatch it and dive into it. And I think it has a lot to say, too, as well with, this is one of those movies where I can make the argument that, like, animated movies do have an argument to be made, and they do have, a bigger message to convey than just being for kids.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to dive into it. It's not currently streaming anywhere.
No. I'm
What do
looking
you-
at people ask, and the first one is, why was the Iron Giant a flop?
Is it a flop?
That's what it says. That's what I'm most curious about, because I think generally this movie's well regarded.
Yeah.
This is in people's subconscious. I feel like they're like, oh, Iron Giant, I remember that.
Yeah.
What I'm really looking forward to is the facts here. I feel like there could be a lot of really interesting things that I just have never thought about.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Yeah. So
especially that budget. I don't know what the heck happened there, but we'll see.
Yeah. We'll check it out next week. Again, it's not currently streaming anywhere, so rent it or pop it in if you have it. I need to pick up a copy for myself. I don't know if they have a Blu-ray release for this movie.
I don't know.
Be interesting.
That
It would
would
be
be
interesting to. I want it if they do got it, but yeah, go check it out next week and tune in to see what we have to say about the Iron Giant. As always, this has been the Film Bros Podcast. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.